Hi, we're the Foolish Couple. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Minna.
And we're founders of the Foco Academy, functional nutrition specialists, and life coaches. We help people achieve whole life success by applying the success principles to the three areas of life that money can't buy. That's health, time, and love your relationships. In the next few weeks, we're doing our Boost Your Immunity series. In the last episode, we talked about your metabolic efficiency and why it's so important for tracking your general health and performance of your body, especially when it's under stress or attack from external viruses like the COVID-19. Did you download our metabolic efficiency list yet from our first episode? If you haven't, you can download it here on the link provided. Lately, news of the coronavirus or the COVID-19 is pretty much all we hear all the time. And the news has caused many of us to feel scared or even fearful in times like these. I mean, how else would you explain the weird behavior of people stockpiling, toilet paper, right? The news media thrives on us being scared. The more scared we are, the more we are glued to the news channels. But is this fear really rational, or just this another phenomena that has been overhyped by all the media?
Well, fear comes in many different forms. With the COVID-19, you may be experiencing different variations of fear, such as anxiety, concern, despair, doubt, horror, scare, worry, agitation, or maybe even a combination of those. Now, depending on your situation, you may be anxious about your kid's school situation. You may be worried about your family's health. If someone in your family has a pre-existing condition, then that makes you even more worried. Some of you may be just agitated because your favorite restaurant is closed. And for those of you who have lost your income during this time, probably despair and concern about your financial situation. Now maybe you have FOMO, the fear of missing out. Now that you're ordered to stay at home, who knows what you're missing out on? Now, as you have mentioned earlier, fear, fight or flight, or FOMO, that's a lot of F words, and that's exactly how most people are feeling right now. So what exactly is fear? As the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, Jack Canfield, always say, that fear stands for fantasized experiences appearing real. Meaning, it's all in your head. It is our human nature to imagine the worst that could happen to us. And when you hear from the news that someone from your location died from the coronavirus, immediately you're going to wonder, are we going to die? And you may not be considering all the factors. Viruses are funny things. They react differently in different people. So just because someone had a bad experience from the virus, it doesn't mean that you will. But that piece of news probably put you into this fight or flight mode, which is why you immediately grab your car keys and head out to buy toilet paper.
Now, we joked about the zombie apocalypse during our last vlog because, well, we tend to like those type of movies. And the coronavirus isn't a zombie apocalypse, at least not yet. There are people that die from a variety of viruses every year. The flu virus kills anywhere between 34,000 to 60,000 Americans a year. We just don't get the statistics of which strains of flu virus for each of those deaths, right? The truth is some form of the coronavirus has been around for years and account for about 5 to 14% of the deaths that are rolled into the deaths caused by the flu. Don't you remember SARS in 2002? Well, that's a strain of the coronavirus. The latest one, which we call the COVID-19, is just the latest strain of the coronavirus. Watch expert pulmonologist Dr. Wolfgang Wodarg, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who had studied flu viruses over the last few decades, and what he has to say about the threat of the COVID-19. And make your own conclusions yourself. You can watch with the link provided here. So if you're like us who choose not to take the flu shots and have not caught the flu in the last 7 years, there's really no reason to think why we are at any higher risk now than ever before. It's not about finding the cure or a vaccine. There are hundreds of thousands of people who die a year from the flu, even with the vaccines. It's not about some magic vaccine that's going to fix everything. It's all about your immune system and its innate ability to fight off all viruses when it is working properly, be it from some form of flu or some form of coronavirus, including the COVID-19. Now, if you step back and just take a deep breath and look at your current situation, shelter in place, with all the different perspective, with a different perspective, you'll probably find something good out of it. What do you think, Minna?
I agree. I know you recently shared a video on our Facebook page called Thank You Coronavirus. And it's true. How many times in your life would you ever get a chance to actually stay home, be completely grounded with no parties, no social gatherings, and just to be able to spend some quality time with your loved ones? Many people dream about how one day they would win the lottery and be able to quit the job, stay home and do nothing. Well, this is it. This is you winning the lottery. You just have to figure out what doing nothing means to you. Now, having all of us staying at home is actually good for our air quality, which is good for our environment. With almost no traffic on the highways, there are less accidents, there's less wear and tear on the roads. And that allows our emergency workers and the logistics companies to deliver our goods on time. And kids can be very, very creative on how they can spend their time. It doesn't have to be video games all day long. It's great to see that they can still get out so they can enjoy the sun, the parks, and they can also donate the time to help out the seniors and others who needed their help during times like this. And if your kids are still in school, you can now let go of your tiger mom or tiger parent mask and just be a loving, caring parent. You may even have spent a lot of money sending your kids to touring, music lessons, sports teams, martial arts, and whatever else you spend money on to keep your kids out of the house. The fact is, all they may have wanted is just to spend time with you. For those who have lost their income, I feel for you. But try to turn your situation into an advantage. Historically, heroes were made, not born. So when you're faced with a dilemma, figure out how you can come out as a hero. Maybe considering starting that business that you've always wanted. Boost your knowledge by taking some online courses. Make the best use of your time. I also want to stress the importance of stress, or rather how stress compromises our immune system. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, stress is actually a natural reaction to how our bodies react. It usually tells you when you are in physical danger, like when you're being chased by zombies, for example. Your body goes into a fight or flight mode, and your heart quickens, your muscles contract, and your adrenaline spikes to outrun those zombies or, fight them off, right? Our nervous system has two parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. They complement each other, and under normal conditions, the sympathetic gives you adrenaline in a fight or flight situation, while the parasympathetic helps you recover usually when you're sleeping or digesting the food you eat. The problem is that your brain cannot distinguish the difference between physical stress or mental stress. Both will ramp up our sympathetic nervous system, so you're always in fight or flight mode, right? Even though there's nothing to fight. This prevents your body from getting into the parasympathetic mode to be able to sleep, to rest, or even digest your foods. And remember, sleep is very important for your well-being, and food digestion comes down to your digestive health. Your digestive system accounts for about 60% of your immune system. So you want to make sure that you're digesting all the food, extracting all the nutrients to boost your health in this time of crisis. Learn more about how our digestive health is important to your immune system in our free Gut Matters book if you haven't downloaded it yet. And consistent stress also causes inflammation inside your cells. And when your body is fighting inflammation inside, well, it just doesn't have the resources to fight off external attacks like viruses. You do not want chronic inflammation inside your cells because that will cause you to be immunocompromised. Remember to check out our free video on how inflammation in your cells can cause chronic conditions. That can happen in the future if you haven't already done so, in the link provided here.
It is human nature to blame and complain for what is happening to us. Is it the government's fault that the COVID-19 is spreading everywhere, potentially killing you? Is it their fault that we don't have a way to deal with this virus? The fact is, most of us learned as kids to depend on someone else to take care of us. As kids, we depended on parents and our teachers, and they in turn depending on their bosses and the government. But when we depend on someone else to take care of our lives, we are essentially letting them control our lives. This is the time where the survival of the fittest is true. It's true that the COVID-19 is highly contagious compared to other viruses, but statistically, your chance of dying is just as high as with the regular flu. The strength of your immune system will keep you alive, and there's no one to blame but yourself if your immune system is compromised. It is your body, and only you can take care of yourself. Stop blaming others for your inability to protect yourself. We have prepared an exercise for you based on Byron Katie's work, and you can download the exercise in the link provided here. Now, when you open the worksheet, it will ask you to answer make 6 statements. The first one is to identify your situation. Question number 2, how do you want the situation to change? Question number 3, in this situation that you have identified, what advice would you offer? Now, statement number 4 is, in order for you to be happy in this situation, what do you need to think, feel, or do? Question number 5, what do you think of it in this situation? Make a list, and it's okay to be petty and judgmental. This exercise is really for you. Now, the last statement is statement number 6. What is this about the situation that you don't ever want to experience again? So go ahead and download the exercise. Answer these 6 questions, and then go back and question your statements using the 4 questions below. For example, if the situation is that coronavirus is causing you to have to spend time and take care of your kids, then that would be your answer to question 1. Then continue to answer the rest of the questions. Once you're done, go back and look at each of your statements and ask yourself, number 1, is it true? It's just a simple yes or no answer. Number 2, can you absolutely know that it is true? It is another yes or no question, but it will require you to really think about your situation. Is it really the virus, or was it your responsibility all along? Question number 3, how do you react when you believe that thought? And who would you be without that thought? Would you be a better parent? Would you have happier kids? This exercise will help you see your situation from a different perspective and help you understand that you may have imagined the worst case scenario and scaring yourself to death. The imagery we hold in our mind can affect us in very powerful ways. This exercise will prove how most of the fear we experience is self-created by imagining catastrophic events in the future. These events have actually not happened, but affect us nonetheless because we hold them in our minds as images. We actually experience a fear now in our bodies because our bodies cannot distinguish between real events and vividly imagined ones.
That makes a lot of sense. Download Byron Katie's work now. If you haven't downloaded our metabolic efficiency list, make sure you download that also. There's no way to improve your health or your immunity without knowing what your starting point is. Remember, it's like tracking how many 3-pointers you can toss the basketball in the hoop in a row to monitor if you're moving forward or backwards with your health and immunity. In the next episode, we're going to go through why whole foods are so much more important now for your health and immunity than ever before. We're going to talk about which foods to buy for best storage life, some cooking tips, and which ones you need to avoid. We would like to conclude this episode with gratitude. What are you most grateful for today as we are all working from home, spending time with our loved ones or with your children? Make a list of at least 3 things that you are grateful for today. This will really boost your mood and, of course, your immune system. Try it. Gratitude has been shown to boost your immune system while fear lowers it. Well, until next time, love what you live and live what you love.